Hello and welcome to EDC Dad. My name is David, and today we're talking about the Swiss Champ and the 5 reasons why I think every dad should carry one of these. But first, let's talk about the Swiss Champ briefly before I get into each one of my points and give you a brief introduction of what to expect on this channel. I'm a dad of 3. I've got 3 boys, a baby, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and being a dad is one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me in my life. And over the last couple of months, I've fallen in love with EDC, with things that I'm actually carrying on my person every single day. That's what EDC stands for. I started digging into Victorinox Swiss Army knives, and I noticed there seemed to be no perfect knife for anybody. Everybody has their favorite one. The compact seems to be one of the most popular ones on YouTube. There's the Spartan, the Tinker, so many knives. But one of my favorite creators out there ever, named Van Nystat, made a video about his Swiss Champ. And that's where I was first introduced to the Champ. The Champ is, let's just say, everything that Victorinox makes. And if you're not familiar, by the way, with Victorinox, this little logo here is the Victorinox logo. You may have heard the Swiss Army knife used in everyday language. The Victorinox Swiss Army knife is the most popular one, but there were many other brands out there that made the everything knife, the all-in-one carry kind of knife. I've got this thing kitted out. I'm going to be making many videos about this knife, but I've been daily carrying this since December. It is now February. And I don't have any problem with it. So many guys talk about using the compact or just various other knives and talking about how big and bulky this is. And sure, it's bulky, but there's so many reasons why having all these tools on you at all times is so great, especially for being a dad. So let's start with number 1. The perfect blank. Well, let's fill in that blank there. And while I do that, I'm going to pop everything back in to itself and leave the thing that I'm talking about, which is the perfect pair of scissors. Now, it doesn't take long to realize that Victorinox seems to make the perfect everyday carry scissors, which is why the compact is so popular. It's got scissors, a knife, and a multi-tool that is like a bottle opener and a flathead, but it's not perfect. But let's just say, as a dad, these have come in insane handy on a daily basis. I'm gonna make my case for the entire Swiss Champ and why, as a father, you should carry a Swiss Champ rather than any other model from Victorinox that includes scissors. There's many that have scissors that are much smaller. But let's just hone in on the scissors, and I guess this would apply to all Victorinox scissors. I've used other multi-tool scissors before. Not a lot. There's some knife channels that probably tested every single one. But I think the main consensus is these are the best ones out there. They just cut so easily into every single thing you can imagine. And if we're going to get into like ASMR, if you're not familiar with ASMR, it's like that super satisfying sound. These have that when you're using them. It's so incredibly satisfying to use. And it's so easy to use. I've used this to obviously cut paper like this, but you could use it to cut all sorts of things. In fact, this is a cleaning cloth for a lens. I'm going to go ahead and just cut that. It's folded in on itself. It's pretty thick material. Let's do double ply. So we're going to fold it. Let's see if it works. Look at that. Literally no problem at all. There was no effort there. You don't get this with normal scissors. I mean, if I went to single ply, it'd be even easier. I've cut leather. I've cut plastic. I've cut gaff tape for my filmmaking stuff, although you don't really need to cut gaff tape. It rips on its own. But these scissors are perfect. Perfect for your everyday use as a dad. If you have stray hairs, I have a mustache, so I've been using this to trim my mustache. If you have string that your son needs to use to build something with, I've used it for that. Wrapping paper, I wrapped a present for a friend with these. you know, cutting the paper. And if you really needed to in a pinch, it can act as a pretty quick little knife too. You can use this to open things with if you don't want to use your main blade. Although, because this is the Swiss Champ and it has everything on it, it's got two different a full blade and a smaller blade. So yeah, I don't use the scissors for anything that a blade could be used for. I've been using the small blade primarily as my box opening blade. And then I've been reserving the big blade for food. I've seen some channels talk about using this for food, and I thought that was a little silly to use a pocket knife for food. But I'll tell you what, using this as a dad, pulling this out and using it to cut your steak, to cut bananas, to cut fruit for your kids is super cool, and the boys just love it. They love that dad's using this tool, and I think I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here for one of my other points, why I think dads should carry this. But let's go ahead and move on. We talked about the perfect scissors here. So let's go to number 2, which is the fish scaler, ... I put ... because I'm not scaling a fish anytime soon. I go fishing with my boys often, but we're never eating the fish. I actually think there's been some things that have come out about eating freshwater fish is not the best because there's a lot of mercury in it. So like, I'm honestly not even interested in ever eating a fish that I catch in a freshwater lake because of that. And this is the fish scaling tool. And as I was coming up with the script for this video, I was thinking about it. This is my most used tool. And what's funny to me is that so many Victorinox channels kind of talk about this being the most wasted tool, the most useless tool. And I just can't disagree more. I find so much use for this thing. It has nothing to do with fish scaling. So the first thing is we've got a ruler, which comes in handy a lot to measure things. Got centimeters here and then inches here. So first off, that's super handy. How many times do you have a ruler available? Yes, you could get like an app on your phone, but this is great. It's adjustable as well. So like if you need to rest it on something to eyeball, you know, how long something is or whatever. I've even done, you know, this kind of thing where you measure it further than what is actually capable here. Now the bumpiness here, I don't like that it's bumpy. Again, that's part of the fish scaling part. And I believe this little cutout here is designed to take the hook out of a fish, which I could see myself using that when we go fishing for catch and release. But what I love about this is that it's a soft, easy piece of metal. Even this fish scaling part, even though it's a little sharper because it's designed to, you know, kind of cut into the scales there, it's still soft. I mean, I'm running my finger up and down it. I'm not cutting myself at all. It's totally soft. And then obviously this side is soft, but the tip is soft. And I've found myself using this tool more than anything. Here's some examples. I built a fire and we needed to move the sticks around to get the oxygen, you know, under the fire because some of the sticks fell down on themselves, and we wanted to, you know, I needed to lift some of the sticks up. And I was looking everywhere. I couldn't find a poking stick. And I just pulled this out and used this as a poking stick. I was able to get the stick I wanted, kind of like move it around and adjust it using this. It was just enough length to where I wasn't feeling like I was burning my hand, and it gave me something to poke with. It's great for if you're threading a needle or you're threading some fishing line, or you're threading some rope through something. Being able to use this to push through an object is great. And because I have such young kids, this has also been great for the boys to use for certain tasks. Because it's not sharp, because it's a safe tool, they can use it to poke things. They can use it to move things around. And because it's got this little cutout here, it really has been useful for a variety of tasks, almost as if it's a little mini hand. I am excited about this channel because I'm just going to make as many videos as I can about each individual tool. This one video is just talking about the 5 reasons why I like this tool as a dad, but maybe I'll do a dedicated fish scaling tool video down the line, showing just some of the practical ways that I use this thing. But what I also love about the fish scaling tool is that it's so easy to access. Um, it's, let's see if you can see it on the camera here. That's it right there. And you can see the little teeth allow you to quickly just stick your fingernail in there and you can easily find it. Like I could find it in the dark. I can find the fish scaling tool and just pull it straight up. One of the downsides to Victorinox, in my opinion, is how hard some of these can be to pull up. I have decent nails. I mean, I try to keep them trim, but sometimes my nail just isn't strong enough to grip these and pull them up. I'm having a good time today, but being able to just quickly pull this up without hurting my fingernail is just great. And I just can't tell you how many times, if you don't want to get your hand dirty, with a food related thing, or maybe even something kind of gross, like, you got like a bug trap and you got some like nasty goo on something, you just want to like poke it and move it. Man, it's just so useful. So I just want to counteract what you may hear online about the fish scaling tool if you're doing research on this. I wouldn't want to lose it. It's become one of my main tools because of the dual purpose use nature of it. Of course, the measuring stick, the little hand, the ease of access, the fact that a kid can use it to do things without hurting themselves. It's just surprisingly one of my favorite parts of this thing. Number 3, fill. What I mean by fill, obviously now there's 2 L's in the fill I'm referring to, and that is the Phillips head screwdriver. Nope, I'm just kidding. This is the can opener with the 2D Phillips head, which I have used in a pinch. I've heard so many people say that. I use it in a pinch. That's not good enough, guys. This is not a good solution to unscrew something with a Phillips head. That being said, I did use it the other day to remove my Ring doorbell from the little slot that it's in, and it worked perfectly for that. That wasn't a true Phillips. It was actually like a hex. So what I mean by fill is a true, dedicated, real, honest-to-God Phillips head that has the wonderful 2-action stage. So this is a, inline Phillips, which means I can use it like a normal tool. Although I don't like that it's offset. I wish it was a little bit more centered. But if I were to pick having my scissors centered like this, or having the Phillips head centered, I would definitely choose the scissors. But maybe if they moved it over one next to maybe where the pliers were, I don't know, maybe the fish scaler. But anyways, it is here and it's great. It's a very good Phillips head, and I've used it on a variety of things. I've noticed that the cabinets are loose in my kitchen, and I'll just, grab the handle on one side of the cabinets and tighten it down here. Or some of the doorknobs, because my boys will slam the door or whatever, will come loose. This comes in handy. And again, if we're talking about kids, this is a tool that the kids definitely can use. It's something that you can hand your son and he can use it. And because it's a 2-stage Phillips head, meaning it locks here and it locks here. It comes out here, but it totally kind of like locks itself. And then at this angle, it's also kind of locked. So you can use it to really get some torque if you need some strength. And the metal is strong, so you don't have to worry about it bending or breaking. I haven't had any issues so far. So yeah, a proper Phillips head. And again, if we're coming back to why choose a Swiss Champ over any other Swiss Army knife from Victorinox for dads, you can't get the fish scaler, which I've already expressed is one of my favorite tools, on any other tool, really. I think there is a fisherman's one, so if you really love it, I guess you could go that route, but then you don't get the Phillips head. I honestly had no idea that the fisherman model actually has a Phillips head, but it's that weird tinker version of the Phillips head where it's on the bottom. It is much better than using the can opener, of course, and I used to own a tinker and enjoyed having that. But the inline Phillips is a much better upgrade, and getting the Swiss Champ, of course, has many other tools. But honestly, I'm gonna have to pick up a Fisherman maybe and give that a review because kind of has the things I like all in one. I don't know. And then, of course, the scissors being in line in the middle actually is, I'm just now realizing that because I just talked about it, but that's one of the reasons why they're perfect. It's right in the middle there. So it's, even though it's a chunky boy, and for what it's worth, I am a 6-foot man. Maybe if you are a smaller man with small but mighty, by the way, I'm not throwing shade at your size. Maybe that would be a consideration here, but I will say, people say it's too big here, but it's not. It fits beautifully, and having the scissors in the middle balances really nice. In fact, having a little bit of weight here offsets the scissors really perfectly. I think this is by far my most used tool, the scissors, for sure. All right, let's go to number 4, plus scales. So for my American fans out there, which the majority of you are, what is a scale? I keep hearing guys talk about this. I don't know, man. It took me forever to figure this out, but a scale is what they call this outer part, this red part. I don't know why they call it that, but yeah, it's basically the plus scales are only included on very select few knives. What that includes is your standard tweezers, which I love. These come in handy all the time with kids using the, like say I'm tying something with string, which my boys seem to do all the time. We'll take like string and tie Hot Wheel cars together. Being able to push it with the fish scaling tool through, to push it through the car and then grab it with the tweezers is fantastic. Also, these are great at pulling your nose hairs for those fathers that are nose hair heavy. And then, of course, you get the toothpick, which definitely comes in handy. I was thinking about replacing this with the ferro rod, which you can buy. A ferro rod is a piece of metal that if you strike it, a spark comes out, and you can use it to start a fire. But we'll talk about this more in my my everyday carry satchel pouch. I just have a Bic lighter, and I mean, if I'm being honest, that's a way better tool to use to start a fire. And I'm never without my fanny pack pouch, which I will talk about in a later video. But this toothpick comes in handy for 2 things. Number 1, your teeth, obviously. If you're about to go into a meeting and you want to trim your mustache with the scissors, pluck some nose hairs with the tweezers, and get the food out of your teeth with the toothpick, it's fantastic. Just make sure you're in a bathroom so you could rinse it off and use a paper towel to clean it, because I just think that's kind of gross to stick it back in with all your gunk in there, so be careful with that. But one of the other things that I've used this for is getting the lint out of my phone. It's really good at that. Let's see if I can even get... Because the other day I was trying to charge my phone and it wouldn't charge, and it's because there was a ton of pocket lint. I guess I got it all out, but it's the perfect size to do that. So that's super useful. And if you haven't done that in a while, I highly recommend it. I've also heard that it's really good at pulling the earwax out of your AirPods. I've not done that yet. If you do that and then you end up putting this in your mouth, obviously you want to clean it off before you do all that. So this will be something I'll talk about later too. My AirPods are definitely part of my EDC. But this is part of the plus scales. You get this extra utility, a little pin. And I thought this would be more useful than it actually is. It's nice to have it, for sure. And my knife is always in my pocket. But I usually do carry my little fanny pack everywhere I go. And in that I have a proper actual pin and a Sharpie. So I don't find myself using this as much as I thought I would. And if I'm going to be honest, it's not the best pin either. So like, this is a test. Almost every time I use it, the first time I write, it struggles. And then the ink starts coming out. It's blue. Wish it was black. It's a very thin ink, but I have used it. I had to write a check for my son's trail life. Trail life is like Boy Scouts. And I used this to sign my name on a check. Worked great for that. Sometimes you just gotta jot something down and you can do that. The boys do like playing with it. And of course this, if you haven't seen any other YouTube videos about this, if you remove the hook here up, and then you set your pin down here, and then you just carefully kind of move the parcel hook down, it gives you a little bit more room to write. Although, honestly, I can, that doesn't seem to be, the guys always talk about that in the YouTube videos, but that's not very useful to me. So I just write it like this. My little hand can handle it. So yeah, the plus scales are great, but there's a bonus to the plus scales. Every Victorinox has a little hole right here, but it's designed for this tiny little pin, this like little needle. Pin is in P-I-N. We talked about a P-E-N, pen. There's a little needle. You could use this for, maybe if you don't want to use the toothpick to clean out your AirPods or your phone lint. This can come in handy. You can use this to get a splinter out of your child's finger, though they won't like it. But if you bought another Victorinox that's not plus scales, it doesn't come with that. Some Victorinox, like the Companion, come with the plus scales, but not the pin. So this comes with everything. So for the one price of the Swiss Champ, which is granted a bit pricey, even on Amazon, they're looking at like $90, $100 or so. I do recommend buying from Victorinox directly. If you buy anything more than $50, I believe it's free shipping. I just trust them more than Amazon. I've bought things from Amazon that are new, and it turns out it's like a return. And so you can sometimes see scratches and a little bit of use. So I've actually switched to buying directly from the manufacturer more and more, as long as they offer free shipping. I think it's silly to pay $7 for shipping when you have Amazon. Then this is a little bonus tool. Get a paper clip and stick it right here where the corkscrew is. And you'll also notice with the plus scales, you get a little mini tool, but I have a different color here. I have a little green swirly thing here, and if it focuses, you can see it's a teeny tiny little Phillips head screwdriver, which is perfect for my glasses. So I have Phillips head on my glasses here, and it fits perfectly on my glasses. And I feel like a Phillips head is just more useful in America. I don't know why Victorinox doesn't include more Phillips head models. I feel like it's just a much more useful tool than, like if every single Victorinox or some of the more popular ones had this, I think they would sell more, because most Victorinox have this because it's compact, it's small, but it's a can opener, and nobody opens cans. I've never opened a can with this. I don't even open a can with the little twisty thing anymore, because almost all cans come with a pull tab on it. So it's just an outdated tool. So either swap this for what's on the new Companion, which is a nice box opener, which is way more useful for our everyday lives these days, because we're buying stuff on Amazon and online all the time, or include the Phillips head, but we got a flat head here. So, and by the way, I didn't go over all the tools in this video because there's so many videos on YouTube talking about that. If you guys want an entire breakdown of every single tool, I'd be happy to do that. But take your paper clip, if you have one of these, and you could just store it right there. You could also do a safety pin, which maybe be more useful for you if a piece of your clothing comes off or breaks. I found the paper clip to be perfect for ejecting SIM cards or things like that, where I need a blunt, straight piece of metal. I don't want the pointy pin in here. I don't want the fish scaler tool, or this is too big. I had to buy this green tool separately. There's a pack of a bunch of them. Comes with a variety of different tools. This is the one that I thought was most useful to screw in there. But yeah, the plus scales are a benefit. I like the red. I think red, you can get these in black, in transparent red, transparent blue. If you buy straight from Victorinox, you can customize them and pick some other colors, as well as put your name on here. I'd love to maybe put my name and the date on it, just like how Van Neistat does it. I think that's a cool idea, kind of dating it, and then I can gift this to one of my sons down the line, and it'll have the date and my name on it, so that's cool. That kind of leads me to number 5, which is being a man slash being the man of the house, if you will, being the example for your children. I'm not talking about being a man in the kind of annoying way of like macho manly. I'm talking about just being a dad, like being the person in the home that's ready for anything that can help, and be the example. Be helpful to your spouse, be helpful to your children, and teach your children how to use a tool like this. I bought my boys, my youngest, or my middle child, he has the kid Victorinox knife. He doesn't use it that much. My oldest son has the Tinker Deluxe, which is a Tinker with scissors. He uses the scissors a lot. We're still working out the knife situation with my boys. They have a hard time opening them. So maybe I started a little too young. I'll follow up on that maybe in a later video. But being the man of the home, having this in your pocket at all times, whether you're at home, at the office, or with your kids outside of the park, there's just so many things that happen as a dad that you just can't expect. And having something like, I didn't talk about every tool here, but having something like proper pliers. Literally today, my son wore a little bracelet that he made, and he made it for my wife, but he wanted to wear it today. It was too big, and so we tightened it down. It's made of like pipe cleaners, which is, like that wire with the fuzz on it. And this has little wire cutters on it, and so I trimmed the pipe cleaner using the wire cutters. So having proper little wire cutters on you is fantastic. So this actually turns out to be my least used. I guess in a pinch you could start a fire, is what some people said. So that's cool, I guess. But if I could remove one tool, it'd be this. Not the fish scaler. It'd be the magnifying glass. That's my least used tool. But back to what I was saying earlier, having a tool on you that has so much capability. You can sit down at dinner, cut steak, cut fruit, cut vegetables for yourself, for your children, using this tool, getting your children used to seeing you use it as the father, as the, protector, if you will. This isn't by no means a defensive tool. This is not a weapon. This is absolutely a tool. But teaching your children about that, teaching your children about all these different tools and how to use them, being put in situations where you got to fix something, make a little tweak, and having this on you and never having to get up and grab another tool ever because this has everything. I just think it's crucial to being dad. I'm excited for my wife. I purchased a gift for her, the companion for her. And so I can follow up on that after she receives it this weekend. I'm going to give it to her on a date night. So I'm interested to see if she'll end up using her knife. But dad having the tool with all the tools on it, I just feel like is the right move. You are the one with the solution to everything. Maybe they can have smaller knives. And if this is just too big for you to carry in your pocket, then putting it in like a pouch or your backpack, I guess, is fine. But I truly have not had any issues with it. And this is my solution. I will talk more about this in another video. But this little satchel setup is exactly what you need. As a dad, I'll link all this below, but I'm going to make a full dedicated video about the pouch, about the flashlight, about the clip. But this is it. This just sits in my front right pocket. It just sits so beautifully. And I'm still able to slide my AirPods right next to it. So this is my right pocket setup. I can grab my AirPods if I need them. And then in a moment's notice, I can pull out my tool and basically fix about anything that happens as a dad, which I think is one of the most important roles as a father, as a protector, as a provider, as a teacher for your children, is to be equipped with the tools necessary. And you can't go wrong with the Swiss Champ. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I've become a big fan of EDC content myself, and I haven't seen anything that's really geared for dads. So if that's something that you're excited about, that you want to be a part of this journey, everything I talk about will be viewed through the lens of being a father, a provider, and a protector. Make sure to subscribe. It's a brand new channel. Subscribe to the channel, and please leave a comment down below your thoughts about this knife, about any other knife or tool that you would want me to review. And if you want to watch the video about my pouch and flashlight setup, you can click this video right here. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm David Altizer, and this is EDC Dad, and we'll see you on the next one.